Okay, so chapter 7 is on attitude, behavior, and rationalization. So this is what are the attitudes we have towards things or people? How does that cause our behavior? And then how do we rationalize our attitudes and our behaviors? This is a pretty quick chapter, so let's dive into it. Okay, so first off, we're going to define what an attitude is. An attitude is an evaluation of an object in a positive or negative fashion that includes three components: your affect, cognition, and your behavior. So first, so we're going to break down those three components of attitude. So affect is the same as your emotions, so how much you like or dislike something. Cognitions are the thoughts that reinforce a person's feelings. So this could be through knowledge about something, knowledge about a person, a place, a thing, whatever, or memories about that person, that place, that thing. And then your behavior. So that's our evaluations of things tell us whether to approach this thing or to avoid this thing. So, for example, one of my favorite fruits is an apple. I really like apples. Okay. So, my attitude, I'm going to break down the three components of attitude of my attitude towards apples. So first, the affect, my emotions, how much I like or dislike something. I really like apples, especially with like peanut butter or caramel, but by themselves they're good too. So, my affect is I like them. My cognitions, thoughts that reinforce a person's feelings. So, uh, I'll go with my memories. Not really I don't really have a ton of knowledge about apples, but my memories are the times that I've eaten them. I've enjoyed them. Biting into that crisp but sweet apple, it makes me happy, and I really like them. So my behavior towards them, so my evaluation of both that I like them and my positive memories I have about them tell me to approach apples, to buy them. Okay. So on the other side of the spectrum, peppers. I hate peppers. I wish I liked them, but I don't. So the affect is how much I like or dislike something. I strongly dislike them. Through my memories, so my cognitions through my memories, is every time I try to eat them, I nearly throw up just because I can't stand the taste or the texture. And so my behavior, based off of my evaluations of peppers, is to avoid them. I pick them out of my food. I don't buy them. I don't cook with them. So that is what attitude is the combination of your affect, your cognitions, and your behavior. Okay, so first we're going to figure out, can we predict behavior from attitudes? So, attitudes are not always predictive of behavior, but they are at times. So, typically, if people behave a certain way, they probably have positive feelings about that behavior. So, for example, Sarah attends piano lessons after school, so you can assume that Sarah has a positive attitude toward playing piano. Usually, if people do something, it's because they want to. It's because they have a positive attitude towards that. And obviously, there are exceptions to that rule, and we'll go through that. But yeah, usually if you see someone playing a sport, it's because they enjoy that sport. Usually, if you see someone eating something, it's because they enjoy it. Usually, if you see someone spending time with someone, it's because they enjoy them. Um, so yeah, sometimes we can predict behavior from attitudes. So people with a positive attitude towards a given behavior will not necessarily behave in a manner consistent with that attitude. So, although Sarah attends piano lessons after school, she may not have a positive attitude toward playing the piano. How may she not have a positive attitude toward playing the piano, even though she has a positive behavior towards it? So there are probably strong determinants that are affecting, oh, that should say that are affecting Sarah's decision, which would be her behavior. So, what are some things that could predict her behavior that's not linked to her attitude? So typically the attitudes people express are about general categories, but the attitude relevant behavior has a more specific focus. So Sarah does not like playing the piano, but goes to lessons because her parents make her go. The more specific an attitude is, the better job it does of predicting how a person behaves in general. So Sarah may have a positive behavior towards piano lessons in that she goes, but has a negative attitude. She doesn't like it, but goes anyway because there's some kind of outside force reinforcing her behavior. So her parents are reinforcing that positive behavior of going to piano lessons. Okay, so that was predicting behavior from attitudes. Can we predict attitudes from behavior? I don't know. Um, I'm sure you have heard of this theory, but maybe didn't know what it was, or maybe you did know it was. But this is one of the most well-known theories in the realm of not just social psychology, but psychology in general. And this is the cognitive dissonance theory. And now that you know about this, if you didn't previously, you're gonna see and hear it all the time. This is the theory that inconsistency between a person's thoughts, sentiments, and actions creates an aversive emotional state, which is dissonance, that leads to efforts to restore consistency. So, dissonance, if you ever took any kind of vocal or band class, um, dissonant notes are notes that are side by side and they clash. And so it almost is uncomfortable to hear. It brings you discomfort. And so this is dissonance of emotions or dissonance of um, it's a clash between your thoughts and your actions, that you're doing something you don't agree with or agreeing with something that you won't do. And that leads to dissonance or a clash, and leads to discomfort inside of you, that leads you to want to correct and restore this consistency. So we become troubled by the inconsistency between our thoughts or beliefs and our actions, and this causes us to change our thoughts or beliefs to match our actions. We tend to rationalize our behaviors or decisions to ourselves. So let's say I find myself lying all the time. I'm lying to my friends, I'm lying to my family, I'm lying all the time. But I know that lying is wrong. I strongly believe that lying is wrong. Okay. So my thoughts, my beliefs that lying is wrong is not matching my actions, which I'm lying. So what am I going to do? Am I going to change my actions and stop lying to fit my beliefs, or am I going to change my beliefs to fit my actions? And more often than not, we actually change our beliefs to match our actions because it's easier. It takes less work, and if we can rationalize something to ourselves, we believe that we're actually doing the right thing, or what we're doing is at least okay. So if I rationalize to myself that these lies I'm telling are not a big deal, or that they're for the best, or would they really want me to tell them the truth, then I'm rationalizing to myself that these lies that I'm telling are okay, permissible. And so I have changed my thoughts and my beliefs about lying. That lie, maybe I changed my belief that um from lying is wrong and immoral to lying is okay in the right context, or lying is okay as long as it's not, about major things, or you know what, as long as I don't get caught lying is okay, and therefore I don't have the dissonance within myself anymore, and I can go on my merry way. So that's what cognitive dissonance theory is. So dissonance, or the feeling of emotional discomfort, results from threats to people's sense of themselves as rational, competent, and moral beings. We like to think these things of ourselves. These feelings of discomfort can cause us to question ourselves and our beliefs. We don't like discomfort, so we tend to self-affirm that, actually what I was doing was okay. There's a form of cognitive dissonance. There's something kind of a branch of the cognitive dissonance theory is effort justification. And I don't know if you guys in college have experienced this, or if there's anything you've sunk a lot of time or money or e- energy or resources into, that you felt this way. But uh, effort justification is the tendency to reduce dissonance or emotional discomfort by justifying the time, effort, or money devoted to something that turned out to be unpleasant or disappointing. You may tell yourself it's really not that bad, and you are more committed to something by the more effort, time, or money you've put into it. So, let's say um, Josh. Uh, let's say Josh wants to be a doctor. Okay. So you have 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 7 years of residency, and then you're finally a doctor making some good money. So let's say Josh went all the way through college, medical school, and is in his 4th year of residency and just really realizes, I hate this. I hate being a doctor. This is not what I want. How difficult would that be to do what you actually want to do? How difficult would it be to discard all those years and loans and time and effort, because you end up not liking what you sunk all that time into. So someone who who's just so they may say it's really not that bad, or at least I'm going to make good money, or at least I'm going to be helping people. So they're going to justify the effort they put into it by telling themselves it's not that bad. Because, however, if Josh were to have gone, thought that he wanted to be a doctor, but in his first year of college took anatomy and physiology and was grossed out by uh seeing blood, or I don't know, something clicked and realized, you know what, I don't think I want to be a doctor, this is not for me. Well, he maybe wasted, maybe one semester on a class, not really much money, not really much time, not much effort, kind of no harm no foul. And and he's probably going to pursue a career that he wants to. But it's so much different than when someone has put in years and years and tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars into an education to become to be in a profession, that they end up not liking. So that's what effort justification is, um, because if you've put more time and energy and money into something, you're more likely to justify your participation in it regardless of whether you like it. Okay, next is a self-perception theory, and this is kind of a counter or an alternative theory to cognitive dissonance theory. This is the self-perception theory, the theory that people come to know their own attitudes by looking at their behavior and the context in which it occurred and inferring what their attitudes must be. So this is saying, I'm going to look at my attitudes, and based off of my attitudes, I'm going to understand my thoughts and beliefs. So a lot of people this doesn't make sense to, but there's a few people that they're like, huh, this actually does make sense. If it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. These are all just theories. They're not laws. They're not 100%, spoken truth. This is just a theory. So, the idea is people come to understand themselves and their attitudes in the same way that they come to understand others and their attitudes, because you don't really you that's how you also come to understand other people is, you watch what they do, and by watching what they do, you tend to learn about them and the things that they think and believe in. So, it could be like such as hanging out with a friend. So you are hanging out with your friend Sarah, and um you you after you stop hanging out with Sarah one day, you go back home and you find yourself texting Sarah to hang out some more the next week, and maybe that next weekend, and hey, you want to go grab lunch? Um, so you realize that your attitude towards Sarah is positive, and that you enjoy her friendship because you keep finding yourself wanting to hang out with her. So you're discovering your attitudes and your beliefs based off of your actions or your behaviors, if that makes sense. Okay. So I want you to, this is the last slide of chapter 7. I want you to consider an object you feel strongly about, something you love or something you hate. Just kind of like I did with the apples and the peppers at the beginning of the beginning of the presentation. I want you to describe this attitude along the three elements of affect, cognition, and behavior. Okay, I want you to think of this and kind of give yourself some practice in implementing the three components of attitude. Okay, this is all for chapter 7.